Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dale Leva, and today I'll be going over sports physical therapist. Here's the overview we'll be talking about today. So, starting off the career rationale, overall, what I would like to become as a sports physical therapist is quite a lengthy goal to have, in which I'll go over here in a bit. But essentially, what it is kind of a specialization of a physical therapist in which the area of interest they deal with is going to be sports and sports teams, professional athletes. And that's going to be kind of the population there is going to be amateur athletes, sports athletes, anywhere from novice to elite athletes. Also, it can include normal, patients as well. And some of these associations and professional sports organizations actually sanction this type of profession is going to be the most popular, in my opinion, is going to be the American Physical Therapy Association. And overall, their mission statement is going to be essentially going to be perhaps the most popular physical therapist association in which they primarily deal with networking of physical therapists in the nation to overall show them the latest updates according to health and all that stuff. And overall has a lot of different types of resources and materials that anyone can actually use. And overall, the membership is not too bad. It's a little bit more expensive for normal, but when it comes to this, APTA in action is going to essentially, when you do sign up for APTA, is a membership revenue to contribute to APTA's numerous ongoing activities to support the profession, which is quite a bit when I was looking into that website. And APTA members can strengthen their skills, expand their professional networks, and find jobs through various sponsors of APTA. And that's kind of the meat and potatoes, if you will, when it comes to APTA. It's going to be the essential source, not only networking, but also finding materials, the latest and greatest of physical therapy. And there's an upcoming event called the National Student Conclave in Portland, Oregon. It's kind of expensive, but if anyone would like to go, it's currently ongoing now, apparently, in October. All right, so another one is going to be the sports physical therapy section, which is going to be add-on to APTA, actually, which I found out. And overall, their mission statement is to promote the identity of the sports physical therapist and to serve its members, athletes of all ages and abilities, the profession, and the community at large through excellence in sports, PT practice, research education, professional development. And overall, what you can really get out of this is more of a specialized source in which they have a lot of journalism dealing with sports physical therapy, and that's pretty much about it. It's kind of nice to have, but it's not really essentially necessary if you ask me personally. But it is not bad if you're already a sports physical therapist and you work that hard to get there. You might as well join, the actual society or membership for other people like you. And right now there's going to be the Team Concept Conference, which I'm actually thinking about going to because I live here. Kind of pricey, but overall it would be a very good thing to have on my resume if I did go. So when I was looking at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and when it comes to physical therapists, overall the career outlook is good. The only bad thing is that of recent, the physical therapist degree, essentially to get your foot into the door, only required a graduate master's degree, but now it's been upgraded to a doctorate. So the schooling and the opportunity to actually pursue this job is going to be a little bit more tough than your average, career, which is probably why the outlook looks good. But I'm not sure if they're going to be able to fill the numbers for this profession. So one of the two places that actually offer this program in my local area is going to be University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And they also have an undergraduate degree requirement for this, and it can be related to biology, kinesiology, anything really related to medical science, I found out. But overall, the more complicated part of it is you have to complete 100 hours of observation work, which isn't too bad. And you also got to score 300 plus on the graduate record examination, which I'll find out a little bit more on that once I actually get my undergraduate. But I imagine I'm probably going to have to study for that as well as do observation/volunteer work. And another hard thing about this is 3 letters of recommendation. When I was doing my interview with a professional, they recommended that I do anywhere from 200 to 400 hours of volunteer work, actually, not just 100. That's just hitting the bare minimum. And overall GPA is going to be a 3.0, but if you're trying to go for a graduate or doctorate program, you really have to keep that GPA high. Another one in my local area is going to be Terrell University in Henderson. And again, undergraduate degree, 100 hours of observation work. Example, community volunteerism. Now that's up to debate on how you really, gauge that. But overall, when it comes to this, what that means really is to really make a name for yourself. So when they actually do call these letters of recommendation that these PTs actually wrote for you, they're trying to find that good example because they want you to be a how should I say this? A respectable person in the local community that people can look up to, especially when it comes to a doctor in the Las Vegas area. When it comes to professional certifications, you can get the American Physical Therapy Association one. Essentially, they have theirs, which is going to be a sports specialty, and it costs around $2,300. And this would be something I could add on later on to my sports physical therapist if and when I do get my physical therapy doctorate. On top of that, they also have the National Physical Therapy Exam, which is required of all PTs to include PT assistants and the sort. All of them must have this, and it's quite hefty. It's anywhere from $3/4 to half of $1,000 to actually get this, and you also have to renew it and keep it. You have to maintain it as well. So some of the upper division courses I could think about I could take is applied physiology, of course, to figure out how muscle, skeletal, and the various different types of tissue systems work in concert, especially when it comes to rehabilitation. And rehabilitation, for the text we know, is taking an injury and making someone back to normal again. Also, principles of conditioning athletes that will go hand in hand with the sports physical therapist, as well as nutrition science, which will also go into sports physical therapy. Also, fitness assessments and exercise prescription would be good as well, not only for a physical therapist to actually rehabilitate elite athletes, but also to figure out and gauge where they're actually at. And some of the, for my interview, I actually interviewed Colonel Mac Totem, which is a doctor of physical therapy, and he actually gave me a lot of insight information into the physical therapy. And essentially, overall, the biggest things I got out of it was to volunteer, 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 do good in school, and essentially get letters of recommendations from various types of PTs, and that's going to be one of the biggest things that he pointed out. So for the activity professional overall, what you're going to really want to do to make yourself stand out is have a good cover letter resume, have some good qualifications, some of the certifications you have, show some interest, actual interest in actually becoming a physical therapist. There's going to be a lot of education gaps and experience gaps, so that's something I got to work on personally and actually be volunteer quite a bit to make myself competitive against all others trying to get into the doctorate program. And there's only a couple right now, which is in Las Vegas and Clark County, so that's going to be kind of hard because there's about 1 million people that live here, so that'll be something. So for the faith slides, faith and therapy, something I found in Proverbs: commit thy works unto the Lord, and thou shalt be established. And overall, work hard, stay humble. It's kind of one of the biggest things when I came to faith and therapy is just have faith. And overall, some of the biggest things you can have is dedication. Another one that I had was faith and fitness. I know there's a Christ right there looking quite swole, if you will. But essentially, there's a good, saying from Psalms chapter 62. And overall, it led to a YouTube video that talked about core strength. And a lot of movements come from the core, your thighs, your quadriceps come from the core, your lower back. A lot of different types of complex movements come from the core. So overall, what is your core made out of? And, keeping your faith strong not only gives you good physical strength, but also spiritual strength to stride and make yourself good. And lastly, scholars study physical therapy. Overall, fear of failure is going to be one of the things that lead to diminished performance. That's going to be something, especially for elite athletes, that they're going to have to deal with, especially when learning about this in sports psychology class. And motivation to recover is paramount. So belief equals recovery. And once you start a recovery, it's going to motivate you more. And once you become more motivated, it's going to make you dedicated. And once you actually get dedicated in a sports physical therapist aspect to actually become yourself again, you can get back to your 100% performance like you like to have gone. And this is my references slide. And overall, thank you for listening to my briefing and overview of the sports physical therapist. Go Lancers!